Hi everyone, so as you can see from the title, I am going to show you how to make this dinosaur eye, and this is based off of the new movie Jurassic World. Every time I saw a scene, I always only saw the eyes of the dinosaur, so let's begin. So over here I have this dome which came with some of the bezels that I ordered from craftroyal.com, and it's really cool because it acts kind of like a magnifying glass, so the colors are going to come out really nicely. The next thing I did was I put 2 dots on the back of my dome and I started painting the eye with black paint. Now the wider you make the eye, the more gentle the eye will look. But if you want it to look like a scary kind of dinosaur or one that's agitated, you might want to make the eye pupil a little smaller. So to do that, I just used a needle tool to kind of scrape away. And then afterwards, I flayed out my black paint like so to kind of give it a little more details. So that's what that looks like. I then decided I wanted to kind of make it look a little thinner because my black paint or my paint job was a little thick, so it kind of looked ugly in my opinion. So by doing this, it kind of makes the lines look thinner. Then I added some small circles to kind of give more details to the eye, but then it kind of looked weird to me, so I decided to scrape it off. It's really easy if you have a marble textured dome because it's so easy to scrape off if you make a mistake. So I decided to make smaller circles more towards where I flayed out the paint earlier. I then started adding some white to the eye, and the more white you add, the gentler the eye is going to look. And once that is done, I decorated the back with some yellow, greens, and blues, but you can paint the eye color whatever you'd like. It actually looks really cool whatever color you choose. And here I made 2 different eyes so that you can kind of see the difference. One has more whites, one has less whites, but they both look really cool in my opinion. Obviously, you have to wait for the black paint to dry completely before coloring it any other color. Now for the actual skin portion of the eye, I'm using black and I'm going to decorate it later. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of make the first eyelid portion, and I use my blade to cut out some black clay. And then started positioning the clay around the eye and then blended it out. Once you've blended it out, it might have some streak marks like so, and what I did was I used some rubbing alcohol and a Q-tip to smooth it out before I started texturing the skin of the eye. So to texture, I used my dotting tool to make small little squares around the eyes first, and then they slowly got larger as you can see here. And because this entire kind of texturing portion took me about 30 minutes, I sped it up as you can see. And you're just going to see me texturing away. It's really easy. You're going to do the same thing to the top or the bottom portion of the lid as well, and you're going to start with small squares or rectangles and then get larger as you progress towards the outsides. Then I added in more texture by using my toothbrush to kind of give it more of a grainy texture. And that's what that looks like. It's a little hard to see on black clay, so you're going to see it a little better when I start to add some Pearlex pigments to the piece. Now this part is optional, but you can add like a double eyelid portion to your eye, and what you're going to do is you're just going to put a piece of black clay over the eye and then start texturing it again. This way it kind of creates a lid portion for your eye. And then I took my dotting tool again to kind of outline where I was going to cut the eye out, and that's pretty much it. If you want to start baking it, you can do that. But now I'm going to start decorating my eye, and I used some Pearlex pigments for this. So the first thing I did was I outlined my eye again with the dotting tool, and by doing so, I know exactly where my Pearlex pigment has to kind of fill in. I added some white Pearlex for the insides of the eye, and then for the outside I used a small paintbrush to add in small details first, and then after I was done I used a bigger brush. This is just an e.l.f. brush that was $1. If you have an expensive brush, you can use that. I will show you how to clean your brushes afterwards, but once you're done, you're going to cut out the outline of where you placed it before with an Exacto knife, and that's pretty much it. Now with the leftover black clay, I just rolled it together with the rest of the pigment, and the awesome thing about black clay is that the pigments will kind of show up but not too much, so you can always use it as regular black clay again. The last thing I did, and this is optional as well, is I used a rustic red color to outline the border of the eye. And then I used a baby wipe to kind of brush my brush against to wipe off any excess Pearlex. Then after it's baked, I used a cotton swab with some rubbing alcohol to clean the pupil of the eye and the rest of the marbled eye and try to clean the back. This is optional as well, but if you wanted to add some more colors or a little more dimension to your eye, you can mix some water with some black acrylic paint so this dilutes it a little bit. I like to dilute my paint so that I don't feel like I'm going to mess up too badly if I start putting it onto the piece. I feel like if I just put direct acrylic paint on it, it's going to be a little harder to wipe off. And of course, if it's a little too light, you can add a little more black paint and then it's going to make it a little darker. And then I just used some tissue to wipe away at the excess black paint that did not get into the crevices. And there you have it. That is the entire tutorial. So this is the colored one and I really like how it turned out. And with the colored one, you can see the texturing very well. You can see the kind of small rectangles progressing into the larger ones. And of course, you can always leave the piece black, and this one is the black piece. You can also see the texturing a lot better now that it's baked, and it does look like toothless, as I've been told by my friends. And adding the white Pearlex definitely made the eye pop out. So there you have it. That is the entire tutorial. Whether you like to decorate it or just keep it black, this is how you make the eye. You definitely could have used scrap clay if you wanted to, but the black was a lot easier to clean up after because the Pearlex pigments could be mixed into it but still stay black. I hope you guys enjoyed the entire tutorial and I'll talk to you soon. Bye!